take a literal.
I'm going to get my argument.
You said that there was no word burger in Arabic.
No, Burger King. There is a word.
Okay, so they would take two words and separate it, like you couldn't find a hamburger in Arabic, or?
Correct. There is no translation in Arabic for burger, but if you, and the only reason for that is, that doesn't mean the information doesn't exist. It just means you can't translate it through Google to get a search result out of it. Instead, that's the splitting hairs in conducting a search. It exists. In Arabic, there's a word for burger.
Translator would.
Translator doesn't do it. Any other questions? So, for example, Hezbollah. In some cases, you may get lucky, you may get the related term search, but most systems today only allow you to search one term online. Now, I know we've gone to advanced Google search terms, we can do multiple terms, but you're really limited up to 10. Yes, sir.
Yeah, most of the sophisticated people out there are aware of this, and they create a tremendous amount of spam, so you can't really pick through it. So how do you, what do you do in that situation?
Well, sometimes it's based on IP. They create the spam. Like I said, if you really think about the true tags available to help weed out, it may be the URL only. You can filter out. It may be the IP address. There's many ways in which you can sort data that comes back designed to mask what you're truly looking for. Other questions? So, another limitation is that a Bing or a Google will only find the exact term you're looking for. Sometimes when you misspell, you get lucky, as they say. And sometimes we found through misspellings some really good stuff, right? Spelled it wrong because somebody deliberately spelled it wrong. So now, let's talk a little bit about cross-lingual searching on YouTube, because I know that's what everybody was thinking about in their mind right now. So, you can actually, in YouTube, put in the 3 different terms that mean essentially the same thing and get completely different results. So then it becomes a matter of an engine employing the ability to say, let's look at the like content. Let's look at the word clouds, and then determine if the 3 are related. And if they're close or like, right? We see this, okay, you type in this word, you see 100 search results of just variations or repostings of the same web page, right? Very frustrating, right? That's not how I search every morning. You know, I'm lucky. I can go in and do some of these things. But my point is that that's the nuances in searching. And today, a lot of companies do not employ this type of technology, but they're starving.
Quick question.
Sure.
Hang on. Sorry about that.
With regard to YouTube, how is it that you get different search results when you use a regular computer versus a mobile device?
Because part of the reason is the entry point at which you're searching. Because I've had that same problem where I'm on my Android tab. I'm like, why am I seeing this? Because you're really going to a different service, and I can't explain. You know, there's probably documents out there that can explain this in more detail. But essentially, you're coming in through a different port. That's the most basic of explanation. Then it could also be, well, whatever machine characters it's using are being translated to be able to put that into a search. And that translation of characters, which you don't see, is in effect producing different results.
one quick comment on the last thing. The fact is Google and others are now looking at your past search history from the device. So that is another reason why you see different results from different devices.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very annoying frequently. The more important point which I wanted to make was that one has to draw a distinction between misspellings and alternate transliterations. Things, word terms translated from Arabic, Hebrew, Chinese, non-English or non-English UK, even UK
Right.
words, the vowels, for example, are frequently somewhat arbitrary. And that's Hezbollah, you're seeing in Arabic from a non-vowel language with almost arbitrary vowels inserted to make it English pronounceable as roughly what it is in Arabic. And that's distinct from misspellings or alternate spellings, really.
Yes. And
That's
this
a
is
transliteration artifact.
right, exactly. And I'll show you an example.
More cultural. Anybody in the back here? No? Okay, go ahead.
No, he actually raises a very good point. Is you really can't, somebody's out there making determinations, and sometimes it's not necessarily truly reflective of the intent or nature of the language. And where this becomes a big issue is when in the intelligence community you're monitoring sites, and it's a slight difference in the interpretation that leads you to have a non-threat against a threat. And boo-boos do occur, okay? I mean, so it does happen. Or they miss a threat. Absolutely. It is that subtlety that today is being programmed in to kind of catch that exact situation that's going on. And so, exactly. Here's your example. Did you mean? It's now telling you how you think you should search for it. But it may not necessarily be the best way to search for it. It is a way. It is a path. And in some cases, as you see, is that some of the information is actually very, very erroneous. So, let's show it in real live action. Shipping. What is one of the biggest threats? National security. The risk of radioactive material coming into this country, right? So what I'm showing you now is not actual programming process. This is just a standard visualization. It's public information. It's been mocked up so that I told a couple of my friends in my company, so when they come into Google search, they think they're in fact persons of interest. And so, by the way, when I run my desktop computer, I'm sure my IP address is probably right up there, with some of the most egregious of people because of my frequent, trips to Persian language websites, right? And the beauty of it is that, click of a button, you translate the page. And at least you're getting an approximation. So now today it's search results, right? You see them like in Google, but then you can, boom, click the button, translate all results. From translating the results, decide this is the document that I would like to see. And again, what it comes down to is using machine and mind to create a better output. So let's go back to shipping. So you got 3 containers, right? Each container looks pretty similar in nature. But when you start to bring more context, more data, okay, X-ray scans alone or infrared scans are not enough anymore. You want to know more. You want to look for scenarios. And one scenario is a diversion of a container. Or the container, for some reason, is still sealed, but is not where it's supposed to be, or it has a particular time and place, right? So, one example, long communication gaps with the base, because you can't keep track of these containers in a variety of ways. So when they reach a port, you scan, the data goes in. You create a shipping manifest for the container. Well, what happens if it winds up going into the wrong port? That happens. It can happen. But at the same time, it becomes a risk factor. So the mad scientists I work with who developed FICO decided it's time to create a risk scoring system. for threat analysis. So this really isn't your mortgage credit rating score here, but it is consistent with a risk threat ranking. And it's granular to be able to provide you with better insight as to the degree and severity of the risk. So in this particular case, it was content, port, long communication gaps as being a feedback, and customs or Class 1 railroads may decide this is a container as part of our safety inspection we want to open up. And just to go back to linguistics, there's some great pictures of container ships around the world that went on fire simply because on the shipping manifest, the people wrote this contents in a way not to circumvent detection, but in an honest way, just wrote the contents for what they are, and it wasn't translated to mean or related to a threat or a flammable content. This frequently happens with cigarette lighters. You ship a ton of cigarette lighters in a container ship, you've got a floating propane box, period. Second example, this one may contain oil parts. It was deviated from route. It deviated from route, okay? But based on the contents, the shipping company, the port of destination, and the type of parts, we may give that a yellow recognition button. At the touch of now on second tab, you're seeing a visualization of the route it took. Maybe you're interested in the countries. You're interested in what the original trajectory would be against the actual trajectory. Why? Compare it against news media links. Maybe there's a correlation. Think about it. Today we can visualize anything that we really want to with a little effort and some good technology. Finally, another tab. Okay, I've risk ranked by content. Now I get to see the actual infrared or X-ray. So what are we doing? We're bringing more information into a central location, empowering people who have to make decisions based upon what? A combination of actual data and risk ranking, risk scoring.